Make sure to subscribe and tap the bell icon so you never miss a story. Let's begin. I swear, it only happened once, I murmured, my voice trembling as I looked at the printed messages clutched in his hands. But deep down, I knew there was no escaping the truth. I was caught. And the most painful part? He hadn't even raised his voice. Let me take you back. Cheating wasn't something I ever planned. Honestly, I don't think anyone does. It crept in slowly, disguised as monotony. A subtle emptiness that started to grow after years of routine. Josh and I had been married for 7 years. From the outside, we looked solid. A house, 2 playful dogs, matching mugs that read "Forever begins here." But that forever started to feel like a loop we couldn't break. The just once I referred to happened during my company's end-of-year celebration. Or at least, that's what I wanted Josh to believe. In reality, that night was the start of something I never imagined I'd be capable of. It was held at a chic rooftop lounge downtown. Everyone was dressed to impress, drinks flowed freely, and laughter echoed off the walls. I didn't walk in planning to flirt. I certainly didn't mean to drink so much. But then there was Daniel. He was tall, charismatic, with a gaze that locked onto you and made the rest of the world disappear. He wasn't part of my company, he was a client. Still, he leaned in close, told me he liked my laugh, lightly touched my arm when I made him laugh. You probably know the rest. One thing led to another, and I ended up tangled in the back seat of his car, breathless, foolish, disgusted with myself before I even got back home. I convinced myself it was a slip-up, a one-time lapse in judgment. I told myself I'd never speak to him again, that it meant nothing. But the very next day, Daniel sent a message. And I replied. That was the true betrayal. What followed was a year of deception. I continued to wake beside Josh every morning. We still kissed goodnight, still cooked together on Sundays. But I was also sneaking away, secret meetups with Daniel over lunch, business trips that were really romantic escapes, and a second phone I kept hidden in a shoebox beneath the guest bed. It was intoxicating, the danger, the adrenaline. But the guilt? It never left. I just learned to push it down. I told myself Josh had grown distant. That maybe I deserved this distraction. That maybe I wasn't so wrong after all. I clung to those lies, until everything came crashing down. That night, I came home to find Josh already there, sitting at the edge of the couch, hands folded, like he'd been waiting a long time. He wasn't angry, not visibly. He looked calm, resigned. That hurt more than shouting ever could. I know, he said quietly when I walked in. I know everything. I laughed, a nervous reflex. Know what? He reached for a folder on the coffee table, slowly opened it. My stomach twisted into knots. Inside were screenshots, dozens, maybe hundreds of my texts with Daniel. Photos. Emails sent from the fake account I used. Hotel bookings under my name. He had everything. Even a timeline organized in a spreadsheet, with dates, times, locations. Every lie I thought I'd hidden exposed. How long? I asked, barely above a whisper. A year, he answered. I started suspecting when you claimed your hotel didn't have Wi-Fi. But what confirmed it was the night you said your phone died. You forgot to turn off your location. My knees buckled. I dropped to the floor. I wanted to believe I was lucky. He hadn't yelled, hadn't smashed anything. But the silence, his composure, it was worse. He'd already grieved. This wasn't a confrontation. It was the final chapter. It was just once, I repeated, barely audible, like the words could somehow erase what he'd found. That's what stings the most, he said, standing over me. Even now, you're still lying. He dropped the folder beside me. I wanted to believe you. I prayed I was wrong. Every time I found something, I hoped you'd come clean. But you never did. It hit me then, all those little things I'd ignored. How he'd randomly ask about my schedule. The offers to drop me off. The casual questions about coworkers. He'd been piecing it together. And I had failed every single test. Why didn't you confront me sooner? I asked. I wanted to see if you'd ever be honest, he said quietly. But you weren't. So I stopped waiting. The next few moments blurred. I cried.
begged.
Tried to explain that I still loved him, that none of it had meant anything. But even I didn't believe the words coming out of my mouth. He didn't shout. He didn't call me names. He just started packing. "I'm not saying I was perfect," he said at the door, bag slung over his shoulder. "But I was faithful, and I truly believed we had something worth saving. I see now. I was the only one trying." Then he walked out. The silence that settled afterward was deafening. I sat in our immaculately decorated living room, surrounded by memories of a life I had torn apart. The dogs were quiet. Even the ticking of the clock seemed to pause. Just me and the consequences of my choices. Daniel messaged me the following day. I didn't reply. I tried calling Josh for days. No answer. I wrote him a long email, a confession of everything. Not just the cheating, but the fears, the loneliness, the truths I'd never dared say aloud. He never wrote back. Eventually, a mutual friend mentioned he was staying with his sister, that he was seeing a therapist, that he was doing better. I felt relieved for him and crushed. I hadn't just lost my husband. I'd lost who I was. The version of me that still believed she was a good person. I used to judge people who cheated.
Thought I was better than that.
Turns out I was just better at hiding. It's been 7 months. I still dream that he forgives me, that somehow we rebuild what I destroyed. But those are just dreams. Real life doesn't hand out second chances, especially when you haven't earned them.